Ever scroll through Instagram and just stop? Because some feeds, they just grab you, right? Is
Yeah.
that whole look, that consistent visual story they're telling, not just one picture, but the whole thing working together.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're aiming for that kind of impact, maybe you're a business, a creator, or just, building your personal brand online, making your Instagram visually magnetic is, well, it's crucial.
It really is.
And speaking of getting seen, if you're looking to maybe give your social media presence a bit of a head start, get some targeted followers, build that credibility quickly, you might want to check out rapidboost.net. Just something to keep in mind.
Good tip. And it ties in because what's so interesting is how Instagram really has become this powerful visual stage.
Yeah.
That consistent aesthetic we're talking about. That's essentially your visual voice online.
Your voice. Yeah.
So today, our mission really is to unpack that.
Right.
How can you actually sculpt your Instagram feed into something cohesive, something compelling that really draws people in and tells your story?
Absolutely. And it's not just about looking good, is it? The numbers actually back this up. We're seeing up to 23% higher engagement for accounts that have really nailed that consistent visual style.
That's significant. It shows that it really connects.
It does. So, okay, let's get into the practical side. Where does someone even begin? How do you start crafting this consistent look?
Right. So the very first thing, before you even think about filters or colors, is defining your aesthetic vision.
Vision. Okay.
And this isn't just, I like pretty pictures. It goes a bit deeper. It's about understanding your brand story or your personal story and who you're actually trying to connect with. What's the feeling you want your feed to give off?
Right. Figuring out the why before the what. How do we, dig down to find that?
Well, start by thinking about your core values, what guides what you do. Try jotting down some descriptive words. Is your brand like playful, minimal, maybe edgy, luxurious, or perhaps really nature-inspired?
Okay. So adjectives.
Exactly. Those words act as your anchor. So if you're, say, a wellness coach focusing on mindfulness, you'd probably lean towards, serene, earthy tones, maybe natural textures and light.
Makes sense.
Whereas like a cutting-edge tech company might go for sharp lines, maybe bold, contrasting colors. It has to feel authentic to you.
Okay, so we've got our keywords, our feeling words. How do we translate that feeling into actual visuals? What's next?
This is where inspiration boards come in. They're invaluable. Platforms like Pinterest, Behance, even just saving posts on Instagram itself. Start collecting images, color palettes, graphic styles, anything that resonates with that feeling you defined.
It's like a mood board.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But the key here isn't just to copy what you see. It's to analyze why you're drawn to certain visuals. Is it the soft lighting, the specific color combos, the subject matter? Really look closely. This board becomes your visual guide.
A visual roadmap. I like that. And you mentioned something earlier, Instagram pillars. What's that about?
Ah, yes, Instagram pillars. Think of these as your maybe 3 to 5 main content themes or categories. They're super helpful for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
One, they streamline your content creation, gives you a framework so you're not always scrambling for ideas. And two, they ensure everything you post actually has a purpose and supports your overall message and aesthetic.
Ah, so it keeps you focused. Can you give an example?
Sure. Like a travel blogger's pillars might be cityscapes, maybe food close-ups, and candid travel moments. For an e-commerce store selling, say, handmade ceramics, pillars could be product flat lays, lifestyle shots showing the ceramics in use, and maybe some behind the scenes of the making process.
Got it. So vision, inspiration, pillars for focus. Okay, now how do we build that signature look? The colors, the filters, the stuff that makes an account instantly recognizable.
Right. This is where we translate that vision into tangible elements.
Yeah.
Let's start with color. Often, less is more here. Aim for a pretty focused palette, maybe 3 to 5 main colors, and perhaps 1 or 2 accent shades to make things pop.
Only 3 to 5.
It helps create cohesion.
Yeah.
And there are great tools online, like coolors.co or Adobe Color, that can help you experiment and find palettes that work well together. And think about color psychology, too. Soft pastels feel gentle. Black and white can be dramatic. Vibrant colors bring energy.
Yeah, color definitely sets a mood. What about filters? They seem like a quick way to get consistency, but also easy to mess up.
Totally. Filters can be your best friend or your worst enemy for consistency. The key is choosing 1, maybe 2, consistent filters or presets like Lightroom presets, and then being really disciplined about using them.
Just 1 or 2.
Yeah, stick to them. And a little pro tip. You might need to make small adjustments to things like exposure or white balance before you apply the filter. This helps ensure uniformity, even if your original photos were taken in different lighting. The goal is that consistent warmth, contrast, saturation.
Ah, adjust before the filter. That's smart.
hmm And don't be afraid to play around with editing apps. Lots of them let you create and save your own custom presets now, so you can really tailor it to your specific look.
And this consistency, it's not just photos, is it? What about graphics or text overlays?
Great point. Absolutely. That visual consistency needs to run through everything. If you're making, quote, graphics, announcements, anything with text, it should feel like it belongs with your photos.
How do you do that?
Choose one or two specific fonts and stick to them. Use them everywhere, in your feed posts, in your stories text. Maybe develop some simple graphic templates using your color palette. Consistent icons, borders, logo placement, it all reinforces that visual identity.
Okay, like a visual uniform for your brand.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it.
So we've defined our aesthetic DNA. We know the elements.
Right.
Now, how do we actually execute this consistently when we're, out there creating content, taking photos, editing?
Planning is huge here, and batching. Try setting aside time for dedicated content creation sessions. Shoot multiple photos or videos at once, always keeping your aesthetic in mind.
Batch shooting. Yeah, I can see how that helps.
It does. So if your aesthetic is all about bright, natural light, then during your batch session, you're actively seeking out those kinds of environments. Maybe avoiding harsh midday sun if that doesn't fit your look. You're thinking about the colors in the background, the composition, all through the lens of your defined aesthetic.
Right, being intentional during the shoot itself. And
Yeah.
the editing workflow, how do we keep that tight?
Develop a repeatable process. Maybe it's import photos. Apply your go-to preset or filter first thing. Then review each image. Does it need a slight tweak to brightness? Does the color tone feel right compared to your palette?
Okay.
And here's another tip. While you're editing a new photo, keep your Instagram grid open or look at your recent posts side by side. Ask yourself, does this new image feel like it belongs? Does it flow visually? Making those little adjustments is key for that overall harmony.
That side-by-side comparison makes a lot of sense. And I've definitely seen grids where the posts just flew so well together, like the colors transition beautifully. Is that planned?
Oh, absolutely planned. That's rarely accidental. This is where feed planning tools are lifesavers. Apps like Planoly, Preview, UNUM, there are quite a few.
How do they work?
They let you upload your draft posts and visually arrange them on a grid mockup before you publish. You can drag and drop, see how different combinations look, ensure you have a nice balance of subjects and colors, and avoid putting, say, two really busy photos next to each other.
Ah, so you preview the whole look.
Exactly. It helps you curate the overall visual rhythm and flow of your feed, not just individual posts. It's a game changer for achieving that cohesive aesthetic.
Okay, so the main grid is planned and looking good, but Instagram has so many features now, stories, reels, guides. How do we make sure our aesthetic doesn't fall apart there?
That's such a crucial point. Your aesthetic needs to be the common thread everywhere. Think about your story highlight covers. Design them using your brand colors and maybe simple, consistent icons.
Right, those little circles at the top of the profile.
Yeah. And in your actual stories, use the same fonts you use elsewhere. Apply similar filters or color treatments if possible. For reels or video content, aim for a similar visual tone. You might not use the exact photo preset, but think about the color grading.
Yeah.
You could use LUTs, which are like presets for video, to help with that.
Tease. Okay.
Yeah. And things like consistent logo placement, consistent thumbnail styles for videos, using branded headers in guides. It all contributes to that unified brand experience. It's that visual uniform again.
It really is about showing up consistently everywhere. That makes sense. Man, to make this even clearer, could we look at some real-world accounts that are just like nailing this?
Absolutely. Case studies are great for this. Let's take Glossier. Glossier. Their whole brand is built on this cohesive look.
Oh yeah, the pink.
Exactly. Muted pinks, soft light, really authentic feeling photos, often user-generated content. That signature pink is everywhere. Feed, stories, product shots. It creates this feeling of approachability, almost like intimacy.
Instantly recognizable. Who else?
Okay, completely different vibe. Humble Minimalist. At Humble Minimalist, their feed is almost exclusively white and beige. Very minimal decor, lots of negative space.
Wow, okay.
The result is incredibly tranquil, calming. It perfectly matches their message of simplicity. And even when they feature products, they blend seamlessly into that serene aesthetic. It's super deliberate.
So different from Glossier, but just as strong in its own way. What about a bigger brand, maybe with more varied content?
Good question. Think about National Geographic at Natio. Their content is incredibly diverse, different places, people, animals.
Right, all over the world.
Yet there's a cohesive feel. It comes from consistently high-quality photography, a clean, vibrant editing style that makes the images pop,
Yeah.
and importantly, their branding elements, that iconic yellow border, their logo on text overlays and stories on IGTV.
Yeah, you always know it's Nat Geo.
Exactly. It shows that consistency isn't about being repetitive or boring. It's about having intentionality behind your visual choices, making sure they always reflect who you are.
These are really helpful examples. So, okay, we've defined our look. We're creating content consistently. Are we done? Or does this aesthetic thing need to, like, change over time?
That's a key point. Consistency doesn't mean stagnation. The best, most engaging feeds actually do evolve. It's important to keep learning and adapting.
How do you know when or how to adapt?
Monitor your results. Once you've implemented your aesthetic, keep a close eye on your engagement. Which posts get the most likes, comments, saves, shares? Dive into your Instagram insights. Are there patterns? Do certain types of images or color palettes seem to resonate more?
So let the data guide you.
Partly, yes. But also, don't forget to ask your audience directly. Use stories polls, Q&A stickers, ask them what they like seeing, what resonates visually. Maybe test out slight variations and see how they respond.
Ah, direct feedback. Smart.
It's invaluable. And if you find certain elements just aren't working or your brand itself starts to evolve, don't be afraid to tweak things. You don't need a massive overhaul overnight, but refining your visual strategy is an ongoing process. It's a journey.
Okay, this has been incredibly thorough. So, to wrap things up, if someone listening wants to start transforming their feed today, what are the absolute key action steps, like a checklist?
Okay, here's a quick rundown. 1. Define 3 core adjectives for your brand's feeling. 2. Pin 20-plus images to an inspiration board that match those words. 3. Choose your color palette, keep it tight, max 5 main shades, and pick 1 or 2 consistent fonts. 4. Select one main filter or preset and commit to it. 5. Outline your 3 to 5 content pillars. 6. Batch, shoot, and edit with that aesthetic front and center. 7. Use a feed planning tool to see the grid view before posting. 8. Extend your style colors, fonts to stories and highlight covers. 9. And critically, after about 30 days, look at your engagement and refine based on what's working.
Got it.
Oh, and a bonus tip. Maybe set a monthly reminder just to quickly reevaluate. Does it still feel right? Does it still align?
That's a great checklist. So really the big takeaway here seems to be that a unique, consistent Instagram aesthetic isn't just nice to have. It's a powerful tool for connecting with people and making a real impression.
Exactly. Start small. Clarify your vision, pick your colors, get into a routine. Look at others for inspiration, sure, but always circle back to your brand, your story.
And remember, it's okay for it to evolve, right? As
Yeah.
you learn, as your brand grows.
Absolutely. It should evolve. So maybe the final thought to leave people with is this. How can you start thinking about your Instagram not just as single posts, but as chapters in a visual story? How can crafting that narrative intentionally transform your presence into something truly magnetic, something that keeps people engaged and excited to see what you share next?
Building a visual magnet. I like that. Food for thought.